Elira dropped the tray. Glass shattered across the stone floor. Wine bleeding between the cracks like something alive, and for a split second, the entire royal kitchen went silent. Then chaos exploded. Elira! Mistress Hallwyn's voice cut through the room like a whip. What have you done? I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Of course you didn't mean to, one of the cooks snapped. You never mean anything. You just ruin things quietly, don't you? Elira crouched immediately, ignoring the sting as glass bit into her fingers. I'll clean it. I'll fix it. You'll do nothing, Mistress Hallwyn said coldly. Except go upstairs and deliver the king's wine before you break that too. Someone shoved a fresh tray into her hands. Another voice muttered, She'll probably spill this one on his boots. Soft laughter followed. Elira forced a smile, even as her chest tightened. I won't. I promise. Of course she promised. She always did. Move. Mistress Hallwyn barked. Elira hurried out of the kitchen, tray trembling in her grip, heart pounding far too hard for something so simple. Deliver wine. That was all. Just walk, knock, place it down, leave. Simple. Except nothing ever felt simple when people were watching her fail. Elira. She turned. Nessa and Bryn were leaning against the corridor wall, both already flushed from drink. You look like you're about to faint, Bryn said, grinning. Relax. It's just a room. It's not just a room, Elira whispered. It's his chamber. Nessa's eyes widened dramatically. The Alpha King's chamber? Elira nodded. Bryn let out a low whistle. And here we thought your night couldn't get more interesting. I just need to deliver this and go, Elira said quickly. Boring, Nessa said. You always say that. Because I always have work. No, Bryn said, stepping closer, voice dropping. Because you're afraid. Elira blinked. I'm not. You are, Nessa cut in. You never say no. You never do anything bold. You just exist. The words hit harder than they should have. I do my job, Elira said quietly. And where has that gotten you? Bryn challenged. Still invisible. Still stepped on. Nessa leaned in, eyes gleaming. Tonight, do something different. Elira hesitated. Like what? Bryn smirked. Be bold. Just once. Do something you'd normally be too scared to do. Elira tightened her grip on the tray. I can't. I'll get in trouble. You're already in trouble half the time, Nessa said. At least make it worth it. Bryn grabbed a goblet from the tray and took a quick sip. For courage. Hey. Nessa took another sip and handed it back. There. Now you have to finish it. I can't drink that. Say no then, Bryn said, raising a brow. Elira opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Nessa grinned. That's what we thought. A moment later, Elira found herself taking a small sip. Then another. Then another. Warmth spread through her chest, loosening something tight and stubborn inside her. See, Bryn said. Not so hard. Elira let out a soft, nervous laugh. I should go. Go, Nessa said. But remember, be bold. Elira nodded, though her head felt slightly light as she continued down the corridor. By the time she reached the chamber door, her pulse had slowed, replaced by something strange and reckless. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Still nothing. Elira frowned. Maybe he wasn't inside. That meant she could just leave the tray and... Her hand moved before she could stop it. The door creaked open. The room beyond was breathtaking. Dark wood. Flickering firelight. Rich fabrics draped across massive furniture. And in the center, a marble bath filled with steaming water. Elira stepped inside slowly, closing the door behind her. No one. She should leave. She knew she should. Instead, her gaze lingered on the bath. It looked inviting, warm, quiet, a world away from the noise and pressure and constant demands. Her fingers tightened around the tray. Be bold, Nessa's voice echoed in her head. Elira swallowed. Then slowly she set the tray down. This is stupid, she murmured. But she was already moving. Moments later, she slipped into the water with a soft gasp, warmth wrapping around her like a secret. For the first time that night, she felt still. She let her head fall back, eyes closing. Maybe just a minute. Just one. The door slammed open. Elira's eyes flew wide. Boots echoed against stone. Heavy. Measured. Dangerous. Her heart stopped. And then she saw him. Tall. Broad. Dark hair falling slightly over sharp, watchful eyes. The air shifted around him, thick with power that pressed against her skin like a warning. The Alpha King. Kale Draven. He froze the moment his gaze landed on her. Silence stretched. Elira's mind screamed at her to move, to apologize, to get out. Instead, something reckless took over. Something new. Something dangerous. She tilted her head slightly, water rippling around her shoulders, and smiled. Are you just going to stand there? Her voice came out softer than she expected. Or are you joining me? The moment the words left her lips, her breath caught. What had she just done? Kale didn't move. Didn't speak. He simply watched her. Slowly, his gaze dragged over her face, her shoulders, the waterline, then back to her eyes. There was no anger there. Only something far more unsettling. Interest. You're not what I expected, he said at last, his voice low and steady. Elira's pulse stuttered. I could say the same, she replied, though her hands trembled beneath the water. He stepped closer. Each step felt like thunder. You don't seem nervous, he observed. I'm not, she lied. One corner of his mouth lifted slightly. Liar. Heat rushed to her face. She should stop this. She should explain. She should get out. But she didn't. Because for once in her life, no one was telling her what to do. And for once, she didn't want to listen. You're late, Kale said. Elira blinked. Late. For dinner, he said. I assumed you were avoiding me. Understanding hit her like a slap. He thought. Oh no. He thought she was someone else. Someone important. Someone who belonged here. Her chest tightened. This was her chance. She could tell him the truth. Fix everything before it spiraled. Kale stepped closer to the edge of the bath, his presence overwhelming. You've caused quite the stir, he continued, refusing to meet me all evening. Elira's lips parted. Say it. Say you're not her. Say it now. But the words stuck, because if she said it, everything would end. This moment, this strange, intoxicating attention, the way he was looking at her, like she mattered. I suppose, she said slowly, I wanted to see what kind of man I was meant to marry. The silence that followed was electric. Kale studied her more closely now. You're nothing like they described, he murmured. Is that a disappointment? No, he said, his voice dropping. It's refreshing. Her breath caught. He reached out, fingers brushing the surface of the water, sending ripples toward her. Tell me, he said quietly, is this how you intend to greet your king? Elira swallowed hard. No, she whispered. Just you. Something shifted in his expression. Something deeper. More dangerous. And in that moment, without realizing it, Elira stepped fully into the lie that would change her life forever. Kale's gaze didn't leave her. It lingered, sharpened, as if he were trying to peel back layers she didn't even know she had. Elira's pulse hammered in her ears, but she didn't look away. She couldn't. Not when something in his eyes held her there. Something steady and consuming. Just me, he repeated softly. She swallowed. Yes. A long silence stretched between them. Then slowly he began removing his gloves. Elira's breath caught. This is bold, he said, placing the gloves aside. Even for a royal bride. I was told I should try something new tonight, she said before she could stop herself. And this is your idea of new? It is now. For a moment he simply watched her. Then with a quiet exhale, he reached for the clasps of his coat. Elira's heart jumped. You're actually going to. You invited me, he said calmly. Her face burned. I didn't think you would accept. I don't refuse interesting invitations. The words sent a strange thrill through her chest. Within moments he stepped into the bath, the water shifting around his large frame. The heat suddenly felt different, charged, heavier. Elira instinctively moved back, but his hand closed gently around her wrist. Stay, he murmured. She froze. No one had ever said that to her like that before. Not as an order. Not as a request. Something in between. Slowly she stilled. Good, he said. The quiet that followed wasn't awkward. It was intense. What is your name? He asked suddenly. Elira's heart skipped. Say it. Tell him the truth. My name is, she started. But the image flashed in her mind. Mistress Hallwyn's anger, the guards, the punishment. Death. Her throat tightened. Sarah, she finished softly. The lie settled between them like something fragile and dangerous. Cale studied her again. Sarah. The way he said it made it sound like it belonged to her. You don't act like a princess, he said. Is that a problem? No, he said again. It's the opposite. She let out a shaky breath. Good. You speak freely. You look at me directly. You don't tremble. I'm trembling now, she admitted. His gaze flickered softer this time. But you're still here. She didn't know why. She only knew she didn't want to leave. Tell me, he said quietly. Why did you avoid me all evening? Elira hesitated, then said the first thing that came to mind. Because I didn't want to meet a man everyone fears. And now that you have? She met his eyes. I'm not sure what to think. His lips curved faintly. Careful. That sounds like honesty. Maybe I'm tired of pretending. The words slipped out before she could stop them. And for a moment, she meant them. Cale leaned back slightly, watching her with something unreadable. Then don't pretend, he said. Her chest tightened. If only it were that simple. Morning came too fast. Elira's eyes snapped open. For a moment, she didn't understand where she was. Then she felt the warmth beside her. Her breath hitched. Cale. He was asleep, and she was in his bed. Reality crashed over her like ice water. What have I done? She whispered. Panic surged through her veins. She scrambled out of the bed, grabbing her clothes with shaking hands. Her mind raced, heart pounding louder with every second. If anyone found her here, Fee realized. If Cale stirred, Elira froze. He shifted slightly but didn't wake. That was enough. She ran. Elira. The voice was cold, sharp, final. Elira stopped in her tracks. Slowly she turned. The woman standing before her was everything she wasn't. Poised, elegant, untouchable. Lady Seraphine. Elira's knees nearly gave out. My lady, I can explain. I'm sure you can, Seraphine said calmly. But I'd rather hear why you were leaving the king's chamber at dawn. Elira's mouth went dry. I made a mistake. Yes, Seraphine said. A very dangerous one. Elira dropped to her knees. Please, I didn't mean to. You impersonated me. The words hit like a blade. Elira's head snapped up. I never said. You didn't correct him, Seraphine said, stepping closer. Which is worse? Tears burned Elira's eyes. I was scared. You should be. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Do you understand what you've done? Seraphine continued. That man is not just a king. He is an alliance. A treaty. A war waiting to happen if mishandled. Elira's hands trembled. I know. I'm sorry. I'll tell him the truth. No. The word was immediate. Sharp. Final. Elira blinked. What? You will not tell him anything, Seraphine said. Not yet. Confusion flickered through Elira. But why? Because, Seraphine said quietly, I have no intention of marrying him. Elira stared at her. I love someone else, Seraphine continued, and I will not be bound to a man I do not choose. Elira's heart pounded. Then what happens? Seraphine's gaze sharpened. You, she said, will ensure he loses interest. Elira froze. I what? You've already captured his attention, Seraphine said. Now you will destroy it. Elira shook her head. I can't. You can, Seraphine cut in. Or you can be executed for treason. Silence fell again. Elira's chest rose and fell rapidly. Her voice cracked. What do you want me to do? Continue as you are, Seraphine said. But make him regret it. It should have been easy. Elira tried. She truly did. The next time she saw Cale, she avoided his gaze. You're different, he said immediately. I'm tired, she replied. You were not tired last night. I was drunk. He stepped closer. And now? She forced a shrug. Now I'm sober enough to realize this was a mistake. The words hurt more than she expected. Cale's expression didn't change. But something in his eyes dimmed. Is that what you believe? He asked. It's what I know. Then why are you still here? Because I can't leave. Because I don't want to. Because you look at me like I matter. Instead, she said, because it's my duty. He studied her for a long moment, then said quietly, You're lying again. Her chest tightened. Does it matter? She whispered. It does to me. The words hit harder than anything else. Elira turned away. You shouldn't care. And why not? Because I'm not worth it. Silence. Then, that, Cale said, voice low, is the first thing you've said that I don't believe. Her breath caught. Look at me, he added. She didn't want to, but she did. And when she did, something broke. Because the way he looked at her wasn't fading, wasn't weakening. It was stronger, worse. Stop trying to push me away, he said. I'm not. You are, he said. And you're terrible at it. A weak laugh escaped her despite everything. I'm trying my best. I can tell. Their eyes held. The air between them shifted again. Dangerous. Familiar. I should go, she whispered. Stay. The word sent a shiver through her. I can't. Why? Because if I stay, I'll never leave. Because I don't trust myself, she said instead. His gaze softened just slightly. Neither do I, he admitted. That was all it took. Elira closed the distance between them and kissed him. It wasn't careful. It wasn't planned. It was desperate and real. For a moment he didn't move. Then his hand came to her waist, pulling her closer as he kissed her back. Slow, deep, certain. The world disappeared. There was no palace, no lies, no consequences. Just this, just them. When they finally pulled apart, Elira's chest heaved. This has to stop, she whispered. No, Cale said. Her heart cracked. You don't understand. Then make me understand. She couldn't. She wouldn't. Because the truth would destroy everything. And she wasn't strong enough to face that yet. So instead, she stepped back and walked away, not realizing that soon, walking away wouldn't be an option anymore. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because what happens next changes everything.